welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Been talking a lot about defense on this channel lately. I think a big part of that was because Tim Banks being rumored to Miami, Tim Banks being rumored to Clemson. Sounds like all that is done and over with. Will Tim Banks renew his contract with Tennessee? I certainly think so, and I think he's probably going to get a bit of a raise, and I personally think he deserves that. We're talking about a top 5 defense. You go back and look throughout the course of the season. I mean, it took 7 games before a team broke 17 points. Your top 5 in scoring defense, your top 5 in total defense. We lived on defense and Dylan Sampson in 2024. We got to a 10-2 season. We got to the college football playoff. I think this 2024 season was a success. Now, is that where I want to be? Is that the end all be all? No, we got to take a step. 2025 is going to be crucial for Josh Heupel. I think his back is against the wall, and I think that offense has to deliver in 2025. Nico going into his second full year as a starter. And look, you look at the numbers. When Josh Heupel came to Tennessee, we were sold on high octane, up tempo. It's going to be explosive. Man, that first year you went 7-5, but it was fun to watch because Tennessee was out there scoring points. 2022, number 1 scoring offense in the country, putting up almost 50 points per game. But then in 2023, you took a step back, right? And we all made excuses. We all had reasons. We said it was because of Joe Milton. It was overthrow Joe. It was all Joe Milton's fault. I don't know that that necessarily was the case. Joey Halzle steps in as the offensive coordinator. We kind of see this offense change from 22 to 23. And then in 2024, enter 5-star quarterback Nico Iamaleava, the number 1 ranked recruit in his class. He is the chosen one, the one that's going to come in, take over, lead Tennessee to the promised land. Now, say what you want about Nico Iamaleava. You look at this Tennessee offense in 2024. They were 8th in scoring offense, 37.2 points per game, led the conference in rushing yards per game, but the passing offense struggled. Was it Nico? Was it the offensive line? Was it the wide receivers? Was it maybe a combination of all of that? Spin it any way you want to spin it. You look at what Nico did. He became the first freshman ever in program history to lead Tennessee to a 10-win regular season. I think we've had some pretty dang good quarterbacks roll through the University of Tennessee. Nico was the first freshman to ever lead Tennessee to 10 regular season wins. He was named SEC Freshman of the Year 3 different times. He set the Tennessee record for passing yards in a half with 314. Yes, competition. It was Chattanooga, but guess what? All the greats, whether you want to talk about Peyton Manning, T. Martin, I'm going to throw Andy Kelly in there, Casey Clausen, whoever you want to talk about when you're talking about legends at Tennessee. Nico Iamaleava is the only one in history to ever throw for 300 yards in a half. So, rolling around social media, I see that Josh Newberg is calling Nico Iamaleava a bust. We're going to take a look at his video, his comments. We're going to break it down, but I need you guys to do that YouTube stuff for me. As always, smash the thumbs up. Just below the video, it's quick, free, it's easy, it helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if it's your first time here, welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. What we are is exactly what you are. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Got a fun live stream coming up Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Tennessee's latest commitment in the class of 2026 offensive tackle, Gabriel Ascenda, is going to be in the house. Next Wednesday at 7 o'clock is our charity stream to benefit the Fisher House Foundation, basically like a Ronald McDonald House for the men and women of our troops. So come support us. That is our biggest stream of the year. We need your support. Setting a lofty goal of $15,000, but I think we can do it. But let's get into it. Let's take a listen to what Josh Newberg had to say. Again, he's breaking down 5 stars for Tennessee. Are they a boom or are they a bust? Let's take a listen to what he had to say about Nico Iamaleava.
Nico Iamaleava, the 5-star from Long Beach, California, signed in that 2023 class, number 3 ranked quarterback according to the On3 industry. And, you know, he started this season. He threw for over 2,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions with a 70.6 QBR in his lone season as starter for Tennessee. So just looking at that 2024 resume, we have some respectable numbers. I mean, nothing, not terrible at 19-5 and a 70.6 QBR, but not eye-popping numbers.
Not eye-popping numbers. Can we start there? Can we talking about stats and numbers? People love to throw out numbers, and Nico has been compared to Hendon Hooker, right? And that's the thing with Joe Milton. Joe Milton comes in after Hendon Hooker, and then he's got a 5-star quarterback coming in behind him in Nico, number 1 ranked player in his class, depending on which recruiting service you look at. Joe was in a no-win situation, but now Nico comes in and everybody is comparing him to Hendon Hooker, but they're not comparing him to Hendon Hooker as a freshman or a sophomore. They're comparing him to Hendon Hooker as a 4th-year senior, a 5th-year senior. You go look at Hendon Hooker's numbers in 2021, threw for almost 3,000 yards, 2,945 yards, 68% completion percentage, 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You want to talk about 2022, the year that Tennessee led the country in scoring offense. Jalen Hyatt running wild, beating Alabama. The goalposts come down. The cigar smoke's in the air. We're throwing the goalpost in the river. We're celebrating. That 2022 season, Hendon Hooker threw for over 3,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But let's talk about his sophomore year. You guys want to, look at a little comparison between Nico as a second-year player and Hendo Cinco as a second-year player? Because Nico threw for over 2,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. As a sophomore at Virginia Tech, Hendon Hooker threw for 1,555 yards, over 1,000 yards less than Nico Iamaleava. Had 13 touchdowns, 6 less than Nico. Only threw 2 interceptions. He got benched at Virginia Tech. Should that have been the end? Should that have been the end of the Hendon Hooker story when he got benched at Virginia Tech? No, he continued to grind. He continued to work. He jumped in the portal. He came to Tennessee. He learned under Josh Heupel. Oh, by the way, he lost the starting job to Joe Milton. Do y'all remember that? Do you remember that part of the Hendon Hooker story? But yet we want to bring Nico in as a freshman and compare him to one of the great quarterbacks at Tennessee. We want to compare him to Hendon Hooker. And some of that's my fault, our fault, the Talkin VAWLS Network's fault. It's the media's fault. It's guys like J.D. Pickell. It's guys like VolQuest, because we hyped this kid up to where there's nothing he could have done to live up to the hype. But that's what we do as fans. We're excited. We got a 5-star quarterback. We're back. We're riding with Nico. Nico made it cool to come to Tennessee again. So if we're going to talk about stats, let's go back and look at Hendon Hooker's stats as a sophomore and compare those to what Nico did in 2024. And let me tell you this, Nico is not going to be defined by what he did in 2024. Maybe, just maybe, he'll be defined by what he does in 2025. Let's hear more from Josh Newberg.
So the question for Tennessee fans is, does this production match up with his NIL earnings at Tennessee? Remember, about 2 years ago, I believe The Athletic reported that Iamaleava signed with Spire Group, and he was scheduled to make, or is making, $8 million over 3 years. That's a lot of money.
I get it. Nico's getting paid $8 million. It's all out there. The contract that was leaked when Nico was signed coming out of high school. And I think some of that may have been done by design to kind of let people know that Spire Sports Group was the real deal, that Spire Sports Group was legitimate. But is it fair to take a look at that contract and say, well, you're getting paid $8 million over 3 years. You better go win a national championship as a freshman. You better go win a natty. You better go win an SEC championship. Putting certain expectations on a player because of the dollar amount. And I get it. It's 2024. A lot of you guys put in the comments, you say, hey, they're getting paid now. Boogie, I can say anything and everything that I want to say. But what is justified? What is expected of Nico because he's getting paid $8 million over 3 years? Do we deserve a national championship, an SEC championship? Again, I said it earlier. I think Nico made it cool. He made it sexy. He made it fun to come back to Tennessee. What he brought in the world of recruiting, all the guys that came in. I think a big part of that goes to Nico being that big guy that jumped in the boat, the first one that jumped in the boat with Josh Heupel. So maybe we agree to disagree. I bet a lot of you guys are going to say, yeah, we're paying $8 million. We deserve a certain expectation to be met. Let's hear more.
That's a lot of money. So we get to boom or bust. I know it's really too early to officially say it, but I'm going to say it right now. I'm leading bust. I don't know if he, okay. So what we do know is he's going to be the starter. They're putting the pieces around him. Mike Matthews is returning, and it's not over yet. But I know
Josh Newberg knows that this video makes no sense. You're calling him a bust, and then you go, oh, it's probably too early to say that. And, oh, by the way, he's going to be the starting quarterback, and they're putting weapons around him. It's a youth movement. Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley. We added Amari Jefferson via the transfer portal. Boo Carter's going to come over and play some offense. Is Travis Smith ready to go as a true freshman? Top 100 player, 4-star wide receiver. Is he going to be ready to go? I think when you look at what Tennessee is going to try to do in the portal, they added Wendell Moy Jr. We know they're trying to add another guy on the interior. Did Oregon overpay for Emmanuel Pregnon? Did LSU overpay for Josh Thompson? Maybe. Tennessee is trying to balance all this to put weapons around Nico. I go back to the meeting that Nico and his family had with the coaching staff. They liked the answers they got. Mike Matthews toes the line, walks right up to the line of the portal, and elects to come back to Tennessee because he likes the answers that this coaching staff gave him. He said, man, I came on my visit to the Alabama game. I saw Jalen Hyatt running free. I want some of that. Josh Heupel's got to look himself in the mirror. 2025 is it. I think your back is against the wall. This offense has to show some life. We got to see a spark. We got to see more of what we saw in 2022. And you could say it was Alex Golish. I don't care if it's Golish, Halsley, Josh Heupel. I don't care. We just got to see results on the field. I'm not saying Nico is a bust. It's too early to have that conversation, but in 2025, we got to see this offense get back to doing what it did in 2022. We got to see this offense get back to scoring points. You had a defense that was elite last year. I don't care about the schedule. I don't care about people that want to try to validate firing Tim Banks. That's it. That's embarrassing at this point. It's a top 5 defense. Tim Banks' defense has gotten better year in and year out, and you're returning just about everybody on that defense. 2025 could be the year. Buckle up. I don't think I'm ready to sell Nico quite yet. Boom or bust? You guys put in the comment section below. As always, smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. I would appreciate it. You can go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin VAWLS Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. There's also a link in the description below. If you want to support the channel by being a member, hit that join button down below. There's also a link in the description for that. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, access to fan call-in shows, all kinds of perks and benefits, but more importantly, you are just keeping the lights on around here on the Talkin VAWLS Network, and we are grateful for that. That is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.